Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that's a huge deal in American democracy, the Bill of Rights. But we're going to do it with a bit of an unexpected spin, looking at these super important freedoms through a lens that's, well, a whole lot funnier. So let's jump right in.
I mean, it's a good question, isn't it? These foundational documents, as critical as they are, can feel, let's be honest, a little dry, kind of distant. They're written in this formal language from way back when, and it doesn't always feel connected to our lives today. So, what's the trick to making it click?
Well, we think we found the answer, thanks to the work of Norbert Gostischa. This whole explainer today is totally inspired by his brilliant and frankly hilarious take. His idea is pretty simple. Sometimes, humor is the absolute best tool for learning. It can make even really serious stuff feel way more accessible and easier to remember. So let's see how he pulls it off.
All right, so let's kick things off with the heavy hitters. These first four amendments, they really set the stage for a lot of the personal freedoms we think of when we even talk about our rights in the first place. Okay, the First Amendment. This is the big one, the one pretty much everyone has heard of. It's what protects your right to say what you think, to practice any faith you choose, for news to be reported freely, and for people to gather in groups. It's basically the foundation of all personal expression. And this is what makes this analogy so great. Freedom of speech isn't just for, huge political debates. It protects your everyday, run-of-the-mill opinions, even if your pizza topping choices are, let's say, highly controversial. Next up, we've got the Second Amendment. To put it simply, this is the one that secures an individual's right to own firearms, mainly for self-defense. And yeah, it's definitely one of the most debated amendments out there, for sure. And what's so clever about this is how the humor gets at a really important point. Rights have limits and context. It's a funny and honestly a super memorable way of showing that just because you have a right, it doesn't mean you can do anything, anywhere, at any time. Okay, the Third Amendment. This one might feel a little, historical, and it is. It was written specifically because British soldiers would just take over private homes back in the day. It established this fundamental right to privacy in our own homes. I just love this witty update. It takes a rule from the 1700s and makes it feel totally modern. Really, it's all about having control over your own space. Although, that donut exception, that's pretty tempting. So, that brings us right to the Fourth Amendment, which builds directly on that whole idea of privacy. This protects you, your home, your car, your stuff from being searched or taken by the government unless they have a really, really good reason. And usually, that reason needs to be backed up by a warrant. And that's what makes this so real. It takes this big, abstract legal idea of unreasonable searches and brings it right down to the most personal, everyday place you can think of, your sock drawer. Okay, so those are some of our core personal freedoms. Now we're going to switch gears a little and get into the specific rights you have when you're actually interacting with the police or the courts. The Fifth Amendment is a big one. It's like a whole bundle of legal protections all wrapped into one. It gives you the right to a grand jury. It says you can't be tried for the exact same crime twice. That's called double jeopardy. And it guarantees due process, which just means the government has to play by the rules. And of course, the most famous one, the right to not incriminate yourself. And there it is, the right to remain silent. Explained perfectly. This analogy just makes it click instantly. It's your right to not be forced to say something that gets you in hot water, whether you're in a courtroom or you're standing in front of an empty ice cream carton. So the Sixth Amendment, this is all about making sure things are fair and that they actually happen in a reasonable amount of time. If you're accused of a crime, the government can't just throw you in a cell and forget the key. You have a right to a trial that's fast, open to the public, and decided by a jury that doesn't already have its mind made up. I mean, that's just a hilarious way to put it, but it really drives home how important that word speedy is. You know the saying, justice delayed is justice denied. Well, this right is what prevents that from happening. Okay, now this one's a little bit different. The Seventh Amendment takes the right to a jury trial and stretches it beyond criminal cases into civil ones. We're talking about disputes between people or companies, usually fighting over money or property. And that just perfectly captures the very human reason for this, right? Sometimes you just need a neutral third party to come in and make a call when the two people actually involved in the fight just can't see eye to eye anymore. All right, the Eighth Amendment. This one is all about making sure the punishment fits the crime. It means the government can't set some crazy, impossibly high bail just to keep you locked up before your trial. And it bans punishments that are just barbaric or way over the top for the crime committed. And this is such a fantastic, modern way to think about cruel and unusual. It's funny,
Yeah, but it actually makes you think, okay, what is a fair and just punishment? It's a silly idea, but the concept really sticks with you. Okay, we're on the home stretch now. Let's wrap things up with the final two amendments in the Bill of Rights. Now, these are kind of the catch-alls. They're there to make sure that nobody thinks this list of rights is the only rights people have.
And these analogies are just genius at explaining the difference between these two. So on the left, you've got the Ninth Amendment. It basically says, hey, just because we didn't write a right down doesn't mean you don't have it. Things like a right to privacy or, yep, the unwritten right to snag that last cookie. Then on the right, the 10th Amendment is all about power. It says any power that isn't specifically handed to the federal government belongs to the states or to the people. So no, the feds can't make a national law about your secret family chili recipe.
So we've kind of laughed our way through all 10 amendments. But beyond all the jokes about pizza and sock drawers, what's the big takeaway? What's the point of looking at our rights like this? And this last quote from Norbert Gostischa, man, it just hits the nail on the head. In a world where talking about our rights can get so intense and so heated, maybe a little humor isn't just about making things easy to remember. Maybe it's a way to just lower the temperature a bit, to find some common ground, and to remember that, at the end of the day, these rights belong to all of us. Maybe understanding can actually start with a shared laugh. That is a powerful thought to end on. Thanks so much for tuning in.